overall, I liked Wonder Woman 1984. I thought it had a really good story, a great message, good action. My biggest problem with this movie is the pacing was way too slow for me. But what did you think of Wonder Woman 1984? Let's talk about that in the comments. Welcome to Durbania. I'm Durbin, and this is my theological review for Wonder Woman 1984. This is a spoiler talk. Spoilers ahead. You have been warned. So, is this a good movie? I think so. I think it's a great DCEU film, but a little disappointing when you hold it up to the first Wonder Woman. I'm going to give this movie a solid B. I enjoyed it, above average, like I said. Good story, good moral, good action. My biggest problem with this movie was the pacing. In the first Wonder Woman, you always had this sense of urgency. She had this goal, this mission. She had to track down and find Ares to end World War I and bring peace to mankind. This is what she had to do. And every scene, you just sort of felt that urgency. Even when she stopped and tried ice cream for the first time, you had all of these great moments, but that was like as they're getting on the train to go on the mission. So it had the pacing up, it had a great story, great heart, and great moral, and it moved. This one, I think it felt a little bit like Superman the movie or Superman 2 because it was in the 80s. I feel like they were going for that feel. So they were kind of having that pacing that those old Superman movies had, trying to build up the majesticness of the character. And it's not like that was a bad idea. And I did kind of like that feel. I just felt like it slowed the pacing of the story down. I think if they cut out a half hour or so of this movie, keeping that same story and the same action and same character development, I think it would have been even more engaging and even more intense just having that pacing up. So I feel like that's the biggest thing that slowed this movie down for me, but still, I enjoyed it. One of the things I liked is the characters, and they had good character consistency. Like Wonder Woman herself, she had the same heart that she had in the first movie. Like, she just has that heart to be hope, to be light, to be good, and that's what she does. And it's cool because I liked how this first movie, or the second movie, Wonder Woman 84, it felt a little like Smallville to me, in the fact that in Smallville, Clark is always saving people, but it's not like they call him Superman. It's just nobody can see him. And I feel like that's what they did with Wonder Woman. Yeah, you have the whole mall scene and everybody sees her, but she takes out the cameras, and it's not like it goes public. And in the 80s, nobody had cell phones, so none of it was streamed or anything. So in other words, she was a hero, but it's not like it was something generally the whole world knew. And so it felt a little bit like Smallville to me in that. And honestly, I thought that was kind of cool that she was being this hero and keeping it a secret. It's also them trying to keep things in line with Batman vs. Superman and Justice League, where, you know, the world doesn't really know who she is after all of this time. So it makes sense that they made that choice that they made with her character. However, I don't know, like, in the Justice League world, the BVS world, did they forget that whole weird time in 1984 when people's wishes were all granted and the world almost fell apart? It's kind of interesting how that's not even mentioned. So maybe they did a good job keeping Diana out of it, where she was a secret hero that helped save the world. Did they all hear her voice at the end, though? Point being, it's kind of weird to me how in Justice League and BVS, there's no acknowledgement of that in history. I know those movies were made first chronologically, but you get what I'm saying story-wise. It seems like a pretty big historical moment out of 1984. Nonetheless, one of the things that I liked about her character is you have that first movie where she's wise and smart, but she's kind of naive to the ways of the world, and it's Steve Trevor introducing her to the world. This time they reverse it. She's been in the world since 1917, so now she's wiser in the ways of the world, and she's the one introducing Steve Trevor to the modern world. So I thought that was cool character growth for her. Also, it made me think the second time I was watching it, because right before she brings Steve Trevor back, and you just really see she's still grieving, she still misses Steve, she loves Steve. What does that do to a person like Diana, who doesn't age, who goes on day after day, year after year with all that strength, powers, and abilities, as that continues to grow in her after all of those years? And so it makes sense to me exactly why she would never want to let go of him when she got him back, even if it was killing her, even if it was stripping away her powers and abilities. made sense to me that she didn't want to let him go, because you see what that does, her just having that year after year. And so I thought that was a great way to humanize her character too. But still, you see that light and that hope, and I like that struggle that she had of letting Steve Trevor go. Now, the sad thing about that for me is I found it very predictable. So at the end, when she renounced her wish and let Steve Trevor go, I remember watching the trailers and seeing Max Lord with that stone. I was like, that stone is it. That's how Steve comes back. So I guess you make a wish or something. I remember thinking this as I was theorizing in my head, how are they going to do this? And what makes me sad is I theorized that that's how Chris Pine would come back as Steve Trevor, but then so there's going to be something wrong with that, and she's going to have to let him go all over again. And I just have this theory that the same thing that makes Cheetah cheated, the same thing that gives him the power to give everybody what they wish, the same thing that brought Chris Pine back, Steve Trevor, that same thing, it's going to be a great conflict for Wonder Woman, because it's going to be like, well, that's bad, but it brought Steve Trevor back. I think some hard decisions are going to have to be made in this movie, and I hated how right I was about that, because it was so predictable. It kind of took the emotion out of that for me. Nonetheless, it was very interesting, because you see as everybody make wishes, like the stone takes something from you. So Diana made the wish, she got Steve back, but it was taking her powers from her. You know, you see what it cost you to make a wish. But I feel like Diana's wish cost not just Diana, but somebody else. Because it was interesting that the way you bring Steve Trevor back is he takes over somebody else's body. But then it's like Steve Trevor becomes this unintentional body snatcher. What happened to the soul of that other guy? Did it just go dormant during that time? But it's like that dude's body was literally stolen, his life gone, because Diana made a wish. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was kind of a creative way to bring him back. Also very awkward if you think about it, because, you know, they indicate that they slept together. And as I'm thinking about that, it's like, no, yeah, it was with Steve, but that's another guy's body. Awkward. You know, they try to explain it away. I don't see him, I just see you. Like, I'm thinking about that poor dude that Steve Trevor took over, who lost so much time and has to hear about all of this stuff on the news. Like, how did I know? What happened to me? So I'm sitting there wondering what happened to this guy. So that was kind of an interesting way to bring Steve Trevor back, but it also, for me, made things a little bit awkward. But even though I predicted that she was going to have to renounce her wish, that she was going to have to lose Steve again, I did like, as she renounced her wish, and then she's running, and her power is slowly restoring. You're seeing the wounds heal on her, and then she leaps into the air, and it flashes back to Steve as they're flying the invisible jet. And I love this because, you know, he's talking about how easy flying is. It's just wind and air and catching it at the right time, and her talking about how she associates flying with him. Like, this is him to her. And I love it because once she lassos that jet and she's flying and she figures out how to super glide, catching the wind in the air, it's like her way to stay connected with Steve even though he's gone. So you do see her grow. You see her learn to quit cheating. So the whole beginning of the movie where she cheats as a little girl, and the whole moral of that is no, truth. That's what you need. You need to hang on to truth. You can't cheat, you can't lie, you can't live in deception. That's the whole blueprint for where this movie is going. And so her learning how to fly, again, Smallville moment, when Clark embraced the truth and embraced his destiny, he learned how to fly. And it's the same thing with Diana here. As she embraced the truth, she's able to connect to Steve in that moment. So for me, that was good, because I predicted she's going to have to lose him again, so it lost some of that emotion for me. But having that moment where she learned how to fly like that, it was a good emotional moment that kind of brought back the impact of her letting Steve go. Steve Trevor, Chris Pine, I think he did a good job. His character was very consistent from where we left off in the first movie. I feel like he's kind of there as decoration. By that I mean he's just there mostly for Diana's character arc. Like, he realizes his existence is her wish. Her wish is draining her of power. And he's realizing, I gotta be gone again. And trying to convince her, you have to let me go. You don't have to say goodbye, because I'm already gone. That was kind of sad. So I feel like his existence was really about her character arc and her character growth. I think Chris Pine did a fine job, and I think it's worth it to bring him back for that, because it brings closure to that chapter in her life. I also liked how excited he was to fly a modern jet, but what was more exciting about that was her turning it invisible, and how we got the invisible jet. I thought that was kind of fun, and it's cool because it lays this foundation in a future Justice League movie where if she wants to have an invisible jet for the League or something, she can easily do that, because now she's figured out that power because her father Zeus made Themyscira invisible. Of course, she's probably inherited those gifts, and now she's trying to figure it out. So I thought that was kind of cool and a nice little fun Wonder Woman nod to throw in the invisible jet. Now, Barbara was an interesting character because I feel like with Barbara, we see something very modern that we see today. Because what we do today is we look at people's Facebook pages, their Instagram, their YouTube videos, and we compare our inward struggle to that outward appearance. You know, by the time one of these videos hits YouTube or somebody's pictures on Instagram, you know, it's been edited, it's been polished, it's made to look really good. And it's funny how we take our inward struggle and compare it to that and think they must be above that. Oh, if only I could reach that. That's where Barbara is. I love it when she meets Diana because, you know, she's looking at her strong, beautiful, smart, I'm such a dumb, idiot loser. She's looking at her own inward battle and comparing that to what she sees on the outside of Diana. And so when she makes that wish to be like Diana, it's interesting to see as that envy drives her. And so as that stone, what is it? The dream stone, the wish stone, whatever. As it grants her that wish, it takes from her her heart of compassion. See, it's interesting. As you're wishing for something, you're taking for granted what you already have. And that's exactly where Barbara's at. She's personable, she's compassionate, and she's taking that for granted. So I thought that was an interesting story arc that she just allows the stone to take that heart from her. She doesn't care that her heart itself is becoming stone because what she cares about is not being prey anymore. So she becomes more and more a predator herself as she gets hungry for more and more power. So I thought overall, Kristen Wiig did a great job in the role, and I think they did a good character arc with her. I can't tell, did she renounce her wish at the end? I've now seen this a couple times. I'm just wondering, I don't remember her saying the words, I renounce my wish, but she doesn't look like a cheetah at the very end. So I'm like, did she renounce it or not? Because I like Cheetah, and I'd like to see more Cheetah. And I want to see more Cheetah because I feel like they did such a great build up to her finally becoming Cheetah. So that was one of the things that I liked, and one of the things I liked in the character growth and the consistency of the characters. Something interesting, I had this revelation as I was sitting here in front of the camera, is Max Lord has a very similar character arc to Barbara. Like, the more power Barbara gets, the more she doesn't care about what she's lost. She just wants more. And that's Max Lord's line, why not more? As he just wishes for more and more. And like Barbara taking for granted that she had a good heart, he's taking for granted how much he loves his son. And what I like about that is, I think Pedro Pascal did a great job in the role, but I think it gives him more than just 2 dimensions. Like, he's a good 3-dimensional villain. He loves his son. His motivation is similar to Barbara in the fact that he doesn't want to be a loser. He wants his son to be proud of him. So that's what he's seeking. He's trying to earn his son's love. He's trying to earn his son's pride. But I love at the end when the son says, no, I love you. You don't have to do anything to make me proud of you. You're my dad. What that reminds me of is what we do to try to earn God's grace. We need to prove to God that we're worthy, that we're so good, we're worthy to be loved by him. All the while, the Bible's pretty clear. Our righteousness is about as good as filthy rags. But he loves us completely and unconditionally, so much that he wants to clean those rags and make them whiter than snow, so much that he wants to fill our lives with good things. We've done nothing to earn his love. Therefore, we could do nothing to make it less or more. He loves us completely, and he loves us unconditionally. So while we're running around driving ourselves nuts trying to be worthy of it, he's already died for us. He's already made the way for us. And so I feel like you got a picture of that. Here is Pedro Pascal. Here is Max Lord wanting more, more, more. It's taking away his health. You see how he values his health in the beginning where he's talking about his vitamins. Are my vitamins on my table? And then the more power he gets, the more unhealthy he gets, figuring, well, fine, I'm the wishing stone. So as somebody makes a wish, I take something from them. And so he does. He makes himself strong in the end. But it's the whole message in the Bible that says, What's it to you to gain the whole world but lose your soul? And that's what he's losing. So even though he thinks he's gaining health at the end, he's been losing his soul until Diana shows him the truth. And he sees his son, and he sees the truth of how much he loves his son. And then when he confronts his son, he sees that his son isn't even disappointed in him. For all the sins that he's committed, his son isn't disappointed in him, but loves him so completely and so unconditionally. So I thought that was cool what they did with Max Lord as he was growing in his power, wanting to become the Dreamstone, that wishing stone itself. If you hold on to my teaching, you are really my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. I think this movie does a great job illustrating the words of Jesus, that the truth will set us free. And really, the whole message, it's spelled out, plain as day. It's just the opening sequence and what I call the Amazonian Olympics. I mean, here's Diana. She's winning, right? But her eyes shift from where they need to be to looking behind and be like, yeah, I'm still in the lead. And then she hits that tree branch and falls off the horse. The honest thing to do would have been for her to run forward, chasing after her horse. You know what she did? She succumbed to temptation and did what looked better and cheated. And when she cheated, she missed hitting that blue smoky thingy, so they knew she cheated. And so really it was a mercy that they didn't let her win. She entered the gates first, but it was false. It wasn't a true victory because she cheated. And a hero doesn't come from being built on a lie. A hero comes from the truth. The truth is what we have, and the truth is what we need to hang on to. So I love the progression of these movies. The first movie is about love. The second movie is about truth, because the stone comes from the God of lies. What's Satan called in our world? He's called the prince of the power of the age. He's called the God of this age. He's called the father of lies. Lying is his native tongue, and it is his native language. The Bible also says he likes to come as an angel of light, looking so good. So that's what this movie is about, the lie coming as an angel of light. I like how when they learn about the Mayans and how they disappeared because they had this stone, and they would neither renounce their wishes nor destroy the stone. So because of that, their civilization vanished off the face of the earth. And then it's easy then for us to make judgments so far away and go, what idiots! I mean, clearly, give up your selfishness and let go so your civilization could live on. But we really see how difficult that was, because Diana got Steve Trevor back, and how happy she was to have him back, and how easy it is to ignore the lie, because what it cost. First off, it cost that dude's life. When Steve Trevor's spirit entered that dude's body, for all intents and purposes, that guy was dead. His life was over, and Steve Trevor was living through him. So by Diana making that wish, she didn't mean to do this. She would never do this. But inadvertently, she stole that other guy's life until the end when she renounced her wish and Steve left. And the other thing is, because she was holding on to Steve, she was holding on to that lie. So now her foundation is the sinking sand. It is the shifting sand. It is that lie. And so the lie was stealing from her, and it was taking from her powers. But I think they did a good job showing you how much she loves Steve, how much Steve loves her, how much she wanted to hang on, and how much like you and I in a similar position would want to hang on to that. But the movie also showed us the lie. It showed us exactly what it was costing. So it was very clever how it did that, and how she had to eventually learn to let go. And when she let go and stood on the truth, we saw her strength and her power return, her wounds heal, and we get into that awesome, majestic flying scene. The truth truly did set her free. With Max Lord, the father of lies, was quite clever with his deception, because as Maxwell Lord was getting more and more power, what could be the downside? More, have more of everything. It's a shortcut. It's all of this ability. Where is the downside? And at first it looks like it's just stealing from his health, but since he wished to be the Dreamstone, what's the big deal, right? The more people that wish, the more he will take from them and rebuild his health. But here's the real deception. It was stealing from him his son. Do you remember that heart-wrenching scene where he's just desperate and he's getting sicker and sicker, and he's bringing people in his office one by one, and he needs to figure out how to get more people in at a time, and he's manipulating them to make a wish so that he could grant that wish, get more power, all that stuff. So he brings in his son who hasn't made a wish yet. And as he's sitting close to his son begins to wish, Daddy, I just want to be with you. And he jumps away like, nope, 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 I can't do that. And he tries to manipulate his son to make another wish. And then his son says, well, Daddy, I just wish for your greatness. And that was out of pure love. And it's amazing how this power that he had taken that looked so good was stealing that pure love from him and that pure love out of his life. And he was blind to everything that he was losing. So the message of this movie is the lie, it looks beautiful. But when you follow that false angel of light, the path is destruction. Jesus said the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. The lie might look beautiful, and the truth might look harder. But Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And continuing that verse in John 10:10, Jesus said, but I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. So even if the truth looks like it's harder, it's the right path. Because Jesus has come to give us life and to give it abundantly. He has come to set us free. And when we put our faith and trust in him, the truth, we are set free. So I feel like this movie is a great illustration of building your life, the foundation of your life, on the truth and not the lie. So what did you think of Wonder Woman 1984? I gave it a B. Would you go higher? Would you go lower? Let's talk about that in the comments. While you're there, hit that subscribe button to become a Durbanian, and hit the bell by the subscribe button so you're notified for my next movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Durbania.